live a life as if you are on a vacation to maximize results of the principles and the practices that you are doing. There was a fisherman's wife was a guest in the gardener's house. She was asked to sleep in a room full of flowers, but she couldn't get any sleep. She was restless and began to visit all around. She could not sleep the whole night. The gardener's wife asked her, "Hey, why aren't you asleep? Why didn't you sleep the night?" "I don't know," said the fisherman's wife. There are flowers all around, and the smell of these flowers did not allow me to sleep. Can't you bring me some, maybe couple of fish or a fish basket?" So when she got her fish basket, what happened? She sprinkled some water on the basket. She felt a smell of a fish coming from it. She fell fast asleep. When we do not learn the principles of the Eastern wisdom, as you have been learning, we are already in the step 11. So when we don't learn, what happens? The mind goes back to the same thing, to the fish. Now I want to smell. Where is the conflict? Now I need to fight. I need to settle a score with this guy and that guy. No, he didn't listen me. She doesn't listen me. So the mind is always confused. Fisherman's smell of the fish. So many a times it may happen that our mind goes to pick up the same smell. And if it does not, then it finds the sleep is disturbed, I have an anxiety, I have a reaction, etc., etc. But if, and you wake up in the morning, you live into the same state. That state should not return now. After we have completed step 11 almost. The mind, because of habit, impulse, instinctive, it goes back to the same thoughts again and in same memories again and again. You told me before why I need to go to the same memory lane. There is nothing in it. I'm pointing you your own challenges you wrote to me. You sent an email explaining. So, in the absence of the right perspective of the knowledge, our mind goes back to the same thing again and again. And then we claim, "Oh, I'm disturbed. What should I do? How should I do?" And I go back again to the memory. No, no need. Not required. I have a new perspective of the life. I have a clarity and a conviction. Understand this perspective in life and live into that. When we go on a vacation, normally we get a return ticket. We know 5 days, 10 days of vacation, and we will stay in this hotel and then we will enjoy. Vacation means mind is free. In that freedom of the mind, I will enjoy peace. It is not because of the vacation, it is because of the mind is free. Why? The moment I say I am going on vacation, so mind is free. So when the mind is free, I enjoy that peace and happiness. Remember, we are going to stay in a same hotel made up of the same wood, bricks, the same material which your house is, but the mind is free. That is what the vacation means. I'm giving a couple of new perspective in your life. Remember all the time. Vacation, vacation. So we have a return ticket for the vacation. We know number of days, staying in a hotel, eating the food. What happens in that state? When the mind enjoys the freedom, you remain detached. You never think for a moment that the hotel room in which you are staying is yours. There is no me and mine. You see, it happens in the mind. Me and mine is not there with the hotel room, with the swimming pool, with the beach, with the food, etc., etc. Why? The mind is free. Eastern wisdom makes the mind free. We have a return ticket in our life also. Get a deeper perspective of this vacation. Why I explained you. Return ticket on a vacation. You enjoy. There is no me and mine. Mind is free. Now, if you look seriously, seriously doesn't mean that you should have a big face. Seriously means with extraordinary awareness and attention that this life is nothing more than a vacation and we already have a return ticket. Compare vacation, you get a return ticket, the mind is free. The mind even never dreams that this hotel in which I'm staying, it may be better than my home, but there is no me in mind. There is no attachment. There is there are likes and dislikes, but these likes and dislikes do not cause any form of attachment. Any form of attachment. Remember this. Remember this. That is very important. That is very important. Are you getting it? I'm using the same metaphor. So now, do I have a return ticket? Everyone has a return ticket when I see the life is a vacation. Birth and the death, return ticket we have. Do I know exactly what the birth is? That we are going to understand in our future steps. What exactly is the death? We are going to understand in future steps. But at present, focus your mind. I have a return ticket. You have a return. Everyone has a return ticket. And this life is a vacation. So, what happens? When the life is a vacation, the mind is free from attachment, from me and mine, from the likes and dislikes. from the anxiety and reaction with reference to the people and the events and to the memory life is on. Life is nothing more than a vacation, nothing less than a vacation. How you think and speak and act when on a vacation, full of fun and the joy. Life is a vacation. Let me enjoy that life internally, like a play and a fun. Not attached, not detached. The moment you are attached and detached, your sleep will be disturbed. You will have an anxiety. What happens? You become like a fisherman's wife. Understanding is required. I've written somewhere, hammer your intellect again and again, repeatedly, based on these principles to keep your mind and the intellect 100% clear so that the life is declared as a vacation. So when you take the life as a vacation, what is going to happen? You will take the world lightly. You take your hotel room lightly. Even then you ask, oh, everything should be clear, clean. I need everything should be clean. But at the same time, there is no sense of identity with that room. So when the life is on vacation, there is no identity attached with anyone in this world. Why? Mind is free, empty. Then what? Empty mind manifests and expresses love, wisdom, peace, and happiness, not only for yourself, but for everyone around you, for the entire world. There is no attachment. So, what happens on a vacation? When the life is on a vacation, we take the world lightly. What is that word? Of people, of place, of time, of events. Vacation. Compare. World, lightly. Why? No attachment. Why? Mind is free. Why? You are on vacation. You don't build your ego. You are not a doer and an enjoyer. That we will take up later. What happens? Happiness from within continues to manifest in your thought, speech, and action. Now, see how our mind works. Fisherman's wife, like a fisherman's wife, you you have gone on a vacation, you find the room is so beautiful, then you are attached, you get passionate. You are not on a vacation. You have brought the same mind which was causing you the problem. Fisherman's wife did not contemplate and reflect that these flowers will help me to sleep deeply and enjoy that vacation. But because she did not think, what happened? The mind says, bring the same old habit again and again. And we fall back into anxiety, reaction, blame, complain, fight, disturbed sleep, and long list of problems. Second option, clear perspective. I'm on a vacation. Life is a great vacation. Feel free all the time. Enjoying living in calm, peace, happiness, love, truth. Oh, I have the flowers, fragrance of the flowers, which I could not do in my home daily. Ah, this hotel is giving me. Enjoy that. What will happen? You drop and dissolve and destroy your ignorance. How it happens? It happens when we study Eastern wisdom. That includes yoga, meditation, tantra, mantra, Vedanta, everything. I hate to divide and or classify the different schools as people do it. Eastern wisdom is the way of life to discover my real nature. Now, see, here is a catch. That is why sometimes people fail to continue the path of self discovery. Every book, we have more than 3,000 books. So, explicitly or implicitly, every book, which includes Vedas and Upanishads and the yoga books, especially the ancient books, I'm not talking of best selling authors. We are not there. We don't want to be there. So every book says, learn these principles and practices from a teacher. And the teacher says, I will teach you from the same body of knowledge from the books. Means what? Teacher never teaches from his own intellect. Why? Personal intellect may have a fault, may have a preference, may have a motivation. So every teacher says, I will teach and guide you from the teachings that is already present in the Upanishads. That is present in the books of Eastern wisdom. Those principles are eternal. They are never changing principles. And that is what teacher says, I'm going to teach you. What it means. Pay attention. First, we learn from the teacher. Who teaches based on the knowledge already existing? That is why we say yoga anushashan, anu to follow, sashan, discipline existed before. So you learn from the teacher principles, you apply them, you do the practice. What will happen? Time will come when you don't need to learn any principle. Why? Because they are assimilated, digested, that has transformed the mind, and you are living into that state. That is what is known as awakening. It is irreversible process. It is irreversible process. Irreversible means what? Now, the fisherman's wife is not disturbed because there was no smell of a fish during sleep or awake. It is full of flowers. Until then, we have to continue the journey. So now there are two things. One thing, first thing, this is the body of a book. For example, body of a knowledge. So now what happens in your life? That everything contained in it is present here in the field of awareness, and you are constantly living the life of the peace and happiness, love and wisdom inside. That is why our every book says, learn from the teacher. And the teacher says, I will guide you from. So the teacher never takes that I'm teaching from my own intellect. These are the principles lasted for more than 10,000 years, and they are going to last. You never forget. What is forgetfulness? Ignorance. Why you forget? Because the mind has created me and mine, attachment and detachment. So, how not to live like a fisherman's wife with a disturbed sleep? Disturbed sleep is a metaphor, so that I'm always, overwhelmed with my emotions, relations, and that is the essence. So the master says, Satasangatve nisasangatvam, nisasangatve nirmohatvam, nirmohatve nishchaltatvam, nishchaltatve jivan mukti. So the way your mind is totally free from me and mine, from attachment and detachment, from the doer and the enjoyer when you are on a vacation. So by constant listening to the teacher, the time comes, nisasangatvam. Your mind is free. What is that freedom known as? Dispassion. How that dispassion has come? Because of clarity. I introduced a new perspective in my life. Now I'm not a fisherman's wife. Now I have understood. Enjoy. In that freedom, what comes? Flower comes, let me enjoy. So that happens by constant listening, learning from the teacher. Satasangatve nisasangatam. That is the first line. Second line, nisangatve nirmohatvam. You experience natural detachment. Means now you are at home. That very sense of detachment is there. You are with your own relations. Your sense of detachment is there. So when the detachment is there, the mind is free. Oh, let us communicate. You are not changing anything from outside. You live with everyone. Our master speaks of that. So what happens then? Nirmohatve nishchal tattvam. By listening and learning the principles, your intellect has been purified by living in those principles, and that detachment has led to the freedom in the mind. Here, the word literally means nishchal tattvam. The mind is now naturally focused and free. When? 24 by 7. Where? Everywhere. Whether at work or at home or with relations. When you continue to learn what happens, the fourth one, Nishchal Tattve Jivan Mukti. Nishchal Tattve. So that sense of freedom in the mind experienced means I have started working on the mind. So when I have started working on the mind, I can take this mind to a total freedom, not only from the memory lane that is causing the trouble now, like the fisherman's wife. So, by listening to the teacher again and again, which is also known as satsang, so it means it clears the mind, it gives you the wisdom, it leads you to dispassion. Now ask yourself, if you live into that state, think out of that state, speak out of that state, is your life a tragedy or a comedy? In tragedy, I become victim of the circumstances, of the people, of the relations But now it is a tragedy. Why it is not a tragedy? Why it is a comedy? The life is a vacation. That is very well settled in my head. So that we think and speak and act as if we are on a vacation. What that happens? It gives you the two most powerful tool, the discernment, which is known as viveka in Sanskrit, and dispassion, vairagya. When I say vairagya, considered a big word. Not a big word. It's a big word. Dispassion is a big word for fisherman's wife. But as you develop your understanding, living from a moment to moment, the life is a comedy, not a tragedy. We don't fall victim to the events people thinks in the world outside. All the means in the world are for my vacation. What happens? First, you experience that freedom and the calmness and peace in the mind. So, experience in the mind changes the brain. It has to change the brain. Brain is the accumulation of the past stuff. So, when the brain changes, it changes my attitude towards life. It comes from within. You need not to show off outside. So, when the attitude changes, it changes your personality. So when the personality changes, you experience the change in your personal life, professional life, social life, family life. When that happens, then what happens? You have a new perspective. You really feel that you are on a vacation. The life is nothing but a vacation. And the secret is the viveka and the vairagya, the discernment and the dispassion. You continue the journey like this. You continue the journey like this. What happens? Inner treasures awaken in you. That we are going to talk in the next session. Six treasures awakens in you. It lives with you. It doesn't want to leave. And those inner treasures keeps your mind at bay with the past, memory, challenges, reactions. It is also important to understand if life is not on a vacation, there is no freedom in the mind, then what happens actually? That needs also to be understood. So we have a clarity, we have a wisdom within. So we are understanding if we don't follow these principles and the mind is not there, then how the mind works. So you see that I want to solve the problem. While solving the problem, more problem pops up that you have already experienced in the past. You are right, you go and say what is right, and the problem comes up again. How dare you say that? Who are you? I will live my life. So, what happens? When we don't live in that discernment and dispassion, those treasures are lost and I want to solve the problem, but more problems pops up. Sorrow and the suffering continues. So the very first issue is that we, for all practical purposes, the mind says, I am the body. And the body is continuously changing. The body has a birth, old age, disease, and the death. I live inside the body, but I claim that I am the body. I claim I am the hotel room, then I get attached. So what happens? Now you see the circle, the vicious circle is created almost in 7 stages. That makes my life hell. The life becomes tragedy. So first thing that I am the body. So every time the mind says, or just understand in a different way, the mind says that you are upset, you are in anxiety because I am the body. Remember, drop this idea, drop this wrong notion. But now, if you say, if you do not drop that wrong notion, then what happens? Then what happens? Then you are gathering more and more impressions of I am the body, of reaction, of memory lane, of pain, and then what happens? So, if you have done good work because of with attachment, a little bit of merit comes. Mom, thank you very much. You paid me. But one day, if you don't pay, then you get a demerit. So you see that the mind is now going down, instinctive. Now that is the second stage. Third stage, my ego takes over. I am the doer. I have done this. Why don't you listen to me? And when I live into that ego, that causes more problem than the harm, than the benefit. You see, 7 layers of the vicious circle. When I do not declare, I am on a vacation in this life. Have you ever thought that you will met me? You will learn from me? Life is on a vacation. We don't know whom we meet. Some people we meet, they make they try to make us crazy, but if we live with these principles, nothing can make us crazy. Life is a vacation, but so the third level, ego becomes the doer and the enjoyer. Now, what ego does inside? There are many things it happens, but we understand practically. When you have a strong likes and dislikes, ego is working behind. So when you have a strong likes and dislikes, well, what will happen? That ego will say, follow, do all the activities pertaining to what you like. Do the activities. What you don't like means keep those people and the events at a distance. So, in both the cases, the ego is constantly working, thinking, liking, disliking. Oh my goodness. That is what happened to the fisherman's wife. So, that is the level fourth. And the fifth level, then what happens? I like you, hence you give me happiness. But one day that happens, even when I like you, you don't entertain me, I get upset. Why happiness is not there? But I was expecting and seeking happiness from you. This is what is the fifth level is the delusion. Delusion means I see too far in the desert there is a water, but water is not there. My mind imagines by looking at the image. My mind imagines peace in you, but you thrash me out. Imagines, fancies, appears true, but it is not. Fifth step. So, what happens if I continue to live in the delusion? Think of it. There's the water in the mirage, and I'm constantly running after that water. I go there, I don't find, I come back, I again go back, I see the water, I'm running and here and there. I'm exhausted, fatigue, reaction, anger, anxiety, duality, conflict, disturbed sleep, all everything is there. But I'm still running. Why? Because I'm in a delusion. That delusion is known as ignorance, and the ignorance is causing the suffering. That is our seven. So these 7 points creates a vicious circle. I'm running because I don't want to realize happiness is not there, peace is not there. That is why I'm running. But why I'm running? Because I'm attached. Why I'm attached? Because I like it. Why I like it? This is an impression in the mind accumulated over the years. Why those impressions have been accumulated? That is the summary of the body, that I am the body. Am I on a vacation? Life is a vacation. So when the life is a vacation, the mind is free from all the 7 factors which causes the vicious circle in our day-to-day life. My master used to say, walk on, walk on, walk on. Take step by step in the journey. Continue to take the step to progress, to drop. You make a hole in these vicious circle created by the 7 factors. You create a hole. How you create a hole? Learning and listening, applying the principles. The moment you create a hole, it will break up. You can do from any one of the 7 points, or maybe more than one. So, what happens after all when you live on a vacation? You walk on in your life, meeting and cooperating with the people, even if the other is not cooperating. Why? You don't care for that. You maintain your calmness. You walk on giving something to the people. You walk on knowing more and more about yourself. You walk without harming anyone. What happens? That drops the delusion. Delusion is nothing but my mind gives a value to a person, to a thing, to an event, to a possession outside. Why I want to give a value? That value helps the mind to start the first step of liking. That liking, attachment, desire, delusion. Where we have started from the delusion, we enter into the delusion. We have become the fisherman's wife. We enjoy only the smell of a fish, even if the best flowers are there. I'm in the gardener house who grows out. My master used to say this world is a God's garden. Can I develop a state of the mind which perceives the flowers everywhere? All these principles are going to help you. So, because of the delusion, the egoism develops. I, my, me, mine. And from this comes the ignorance. But from where comes the ignorance? It is an original ignorance. What is that original ignorance? Original ignorance means by mistake I take myself other than what really I am. What I am? I am the real self. I am pure consciousness. I am truth. I am wisdom. I am love. When 24 by 7, where in all the conditions, in all my relationship, oh, is that so then? But I take myself other than that. What is other than that? I am the body. Same 7 factors of the vicious circle starts. There is another perspective to remain aware of that. When you are hurt, ask yourself where the heart is. It is because of the ego. And what the ego is. Ego is always absent. It is present when there is a delusion, it is absent when there is no delusion. Simply think of that. Don't start thinking literally I am this or I am that. Oh, it has nothing to do with it. What does it mean? I'm hurt. So now there is a ego. Then continue to work on this ego in the field of awareness. How smaller I am as compared to the room I am sitting. Maybe 1,000 times smaller. Very good. Compared to my home, maybe 50,000 smaller. How significant I am with reference to the town I'm living, the county I am, the country I am. I'm not able to perceive the smallest dust particle, even smaller than that, totally non existent. And then ask the ego to return. It will not return, but one thing will definitely return: the smile, calm, and the peace. Second way is to kill that wrong notion, the deluded delusion which creates the ego. How long I live? Maybe 200 years. Very good. Okay. Now compare the 200 years with the billions of years that have passed. How much 200 years, human man years, as compared to the billions of years and the billions of years ahead in the future? I don't remember the name of that ephemeral insect which lives only for few hours. You see, the entire life cycle passes only for few hours. Birth? No, before that, the pregnancy, then the birth, few hours, gone. That is our life of 200 hours, 200 years. So, Eastern wisdom gives you a new perspective to transform your entire life. And the main thing is self inquiry. Where is self inquiry? Who am I? Our master declares, who am I? We are. Our true nature is pure consciousness, truth, love, wisdom, and permanent happiness. Anandam. Normally, we use the word Satchidanand, absolute existence, consciousness, bliss. You wake up in the morning. When you know you have woken up, can you say in your mind, I am the real self, and then start remembering, recalling, I am pure consciousness. At least it will give you a reference to the mind to start working and accelerating your evolution. I remember something more. My mind has to listen, learn the principles, do the practice until the time comes you wake up in the morning and the mind says, I am real self. The way you wake up in the morning, you never forget your name, you never forget your home, you never forget your car, you never forget your relations. Time will come, you will never forget who you are. Who you are. When that remembering is there, self remembering is there, beyond the name and the form and the size and the color and the gender and the possessions, you are already there. And that is why the 40 steps have been created. Gyan vigyan traptatma kutastho vijitendriya vijit endriya yukt ityukchate yogi samalosta akan kanchan. Our master, the originator of the Eastern wisdom, says that person who is satisfied with the self, who is satisfied in the real self, with the real self, by the real self. When? 24 by 7. Where? Everywhere. What condition? In all conditions. That is the success in meditation. See there, how beautifully this master explains. So, when the mind is free in that state, when the mind is free, means what? Life is a vacation. When that life is a vacation, your mind will recall the principles that you have learned during these weeks. It will naturally recall. You need not to remember. Real self and the false self. When I identify myself, oh, I build my ego up. Look at this, my house. False self. Real self within. So, after all, if we do not understand, do not gain the right knowledge about the real self, how the mind will remember? You have your name given. It went into the mind. Every day you wake up in the morning and you say, this is who I am. This is my social security number. This is my ID. It all pertains to the body, but I am not the body. So we should You should be very clear what is real self and what is not self. Now, to drop that delusion, you are, out of the seven factors I just explained, you prick a hole as if it is a big balloon, 7 points, and you prick a hole in the seven factors of a balloon. What is going to happen? The entire balloon drops. That is the second step. Know your duties in daily life and perform them in peace and happiness to accelerate your process of evolution. So now that sense of ego in performing the action is not there. One, you are not seeking any result from outside, but your focus on the work naturally gives the reward to you. Even your son comes, your daughter comes, your son comes to your home. How are you? No ego, yes. No expectation, yes. How are you, my son? Are you my daughter? You're going to the office. No ego. I know. This is the knowledge. Focus on the knowledge. Do your work. Enjoy working. Get absorbed into the work and keep aside the two factors, the ego of doing that work and result. What it means? You're living on a vacation. But now I realize that I'm not the doer and the enjoyer, so I'm not seeking the fruits of an action. I focus on the work that is at hand. I play my role and perform. Then am I a part of that existence? Yes, I'm the part of it. Let me offer all my actions to the very existence. I'm doing it for the sake of you. Mind expands. It now it enjoys that freedom. It wants to live into that freedom. But because of the past impressions, the desire pricks our mind. Why don't you do this? You see, that guy has done this. No, no, no. Hold on, my mind. I'm not interested. What others are doing, not interested. What I am doing, I want to define. That is the fourth step. You start living a stress free life. But still, the strong likes and dislikes remains there. They have been loosened, but still there. So we identify those. That is the fifth step. We educate the mind to drop and dissolve the strong likes and dislikes to awaken to the equanimity and calmness of the mind. Krishna's wife did a blunder because she found the pleasure in the smell of a fish. She did not inquire what are the inherent defects of pleasure in that smell of a fish. So if I remain fishy throughout the day and the night, and my mind is reflecting and picturizing the pleasure in the objects and the people and the things outside, I don't recognize the inherent defects of the pleasure. When I don't recognize the inherent defects of pleasure, I will continue to live in the delusion, and the delusion will continue to cause sorrow and the suffering in my life. Then I lost the understanding how I am living my life. I'm on a vacation in the world of life. So once these six are settled in your mind, and that is why it has brought a lot of changes in you, and you see that I feel and experience a sense of freedom. all the time. Then begins another important step. Learn how to see the real self, commitment in regular practice. So when you continue the journey, then what happens? Now we know delusion has come, and you can did I talk about the real home and the false? Do you remember that? Do you remember all the principles? Why I'm seeking the real home? So when you seek that real home. So after, if you complete the 8th stage, the master stage, you continue to hear the teacher who is teaching you the higher principles. You learn the royal secrets, Eastern wisdom, at a very subtler level. Your mind has become very subtle. That is what the 9th step is. So in the 10th step, the master opens the power of discernment and dispassion in great. Why great? So that your mind reaches to a stage where it never turns its face to the passion, to the pleasure, just seeking something outside. So normally what happens when you live in the discernment at the highest level, it comes dispassion. And you live in a higher level of dispassion, mind that starts awakening to the 6 inner treasures. That is our step number 11. So we'll continue with the 6 treasures next week. So these 6 treasures drive away the 6 enemies, and those 7 factors created the vicious circle where we forgot the purpose of life to live life on a vacation. Six treasures: perfect calmness, not getting carried by any object of world to the sense organs. Two, that is known as Madhava. Third, Uparati. I'm enjoying, I'm on a vacation. You're about the world. When you go on vacation, you see how beautiful the room is. You praise it. You enjoy living in there. But you know, not yours. No me and mine. No attachment. No passion. So these 3 constantly gives you a sense of freedom in the mind. But then what happens? The past impressions, what to do with it? So we have another 4th treasure is known as titiksha, endurance. I endure when they come. What is that meaning of endurance here? The mind is not allowed to get swayed by them. Your daughter may say something, withdraw. Third, third treasure. 4th is hold it, endure, no reaction. So when you follow the 4 treasures, the 5th is Shraddha, faith. Now your mind says, I have a faith in the real self. Nothing can ever disturb me. 6th, the mind remains absorbed into the real self. It wants to absorb into the real self, if I say so. And that inspires and motivates you to continue the journey. We'll take up next step next week. Thank you.